to become who we want to be as individuals. And at the end of the day, that's going to help us be a successful offense.
Man-to-man, one-on-one coverage because the safety rolls to Jefferson's side.
Jordan Love hit me up the night of the draft, just congratulating me, let me know it's time to work. A.J. Dillon was open arms.
Von Rock caught a ball with his thighs. We didn't even talk about that.
It was more of with his ass.
If he throws a good ball, this is a running, catching touchdown untouched.
Like, KP does like these flips after every win, and I'm like just waiting for him to do his flip.
To know that we still love each other, that's what football brings us.
Across the safety's face.
So you can tune in anywhere that you guys follow us on social media. Welcome to the Practice Squad podcast. What does it even say?
You can't read it. Stupid light. It says Broncos are a lock.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. Mark's already ready to.
I can't even get this part right.
Because he knows he's going to get the wrath of God this episode for that Broncos pick. Anyways, my name is John. I'm joined by my co-host, Mark. We are concluding NFL Week 3, which I would say so far was the most exciting week of NFL football we've had. Everything's early, but there's a lot of blowouts. A lot of news cycles, just a lot of interesting things happening with this week. So I really enjoyed it. Mark, worst Broncos pick of all time, Petrito. How you doing today?
Yeah, I've been better. I've been better. My picks weren't great. Probably an all-time low point, bad pick, bad call came last week, so that's good. But good week of NFL football. Ton of NFL drama in the media between college teams, celebrity. There's all kinds of things to talk about in this episode. And then obviously, as always, there's actual football, week-to-week football to talk about. Game breaks, all that.
Yeah, man, it was a good week. I'm excited to cover everything. I guess, we'll just kind of hop in college to start. Let me get my screen pulled up here. Did a really good job of queuing that up before we started the episode. So first things first, Notre Dame, really brought it against Ohio State for most of this game. And with 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter, with Ohio State in the red zone, they had 10 guys on the field. I mean, one of the most critical moments that this team's going to see all season. And they're playing a man down. So that's pretty rough. And then, that's one thing to take away from this game. The other thing to take away is that Ryan Day was talking shit like he won the Super Bowl to Lou Holtz, who's 86 years old, and said the things that he said on the Pat McAfee show, getting interviewed by Pat's co-host Ty Schmidt, dressed as Lou Holtz. And for whatever reason, that's what fired Ryan Day up. And if it wasn't, who knows what could have happened here. If it wasn't for Notre Dame going out with a man down on the field, they might have lost this game. So, look, I'm a Michigan fan. I'm going to take any opportunity I can to talk shit about Ohio State. Why are you acting like Lou Holtz is like some heel? He's an 86-year-old man. Relax, dude. Relax.
You are such a Michigan fan. That's such a Michigan fan take. The problem is you're right.
No. All of football Twitter's flaming him.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is you're right. I'll start with the 10 guys on the field. That's a fireable offense, in my opinion. If you're a defensive coordinator or a head coach or a defensive line coach, and you're responsible for the personnel in that situation, especially when there's timeouts used, you can't have this happen, man. With the game on the line, it's the last play of the game, and you have 10 guys on the field. They had 10 guys on the field the previous snap as well on the when the timeout was called. When they were going to go to Marvin Harrison the play prior. So then they come out and they say, okay, well, if they're going to play us like that against this Marvin Harrison and this man-to-man look on the bottom, we think we can run the ball in. So that's what they saw. They came out in the same formation as the prior play, and they just lucked out that Notre Dame was one guy down, but they still probably score with 11 guys on the field. My whole problem with this game, and then I'll get into Lou Holtz, is it should have never came down to this. Ohio State should never have had enough time to move the ball down the field. Notre Dame throws 2 incompletions when Ohio State has 1 timeout remaining, and they didn't force him to use that final timeout. So they get the ball back with enough time to drive, and they still have that timeout in their pocket. You force them to call the timeout. You run the ball again. You burn as much clock as you can. You punt the ball. They probably get the ball with less than 40 seconds left. That's a very different offensive 2-minute drill than you have one timeout and over a minute remaining. So that's Notre Dame blew this game big time, had every opportunity and every advantage in the final minutes to win, but a hell of a win for Ohio State. Now, Ryan Day and Lou Holtz. I agree with you. Lou Holtz, though, what he said was a personal attack on the university, on Coach Day, on these players. He basically called Ohio State soft and has been soft the last few years. I mean, if you feel the need to single him out after a big win like this, like clearly he's living rent-free in your head. But that's my take on it.
I mean, again, if an 86-year-old man calls me soft, I'm just not paying attention to it. Like that's. And also, I mean, I'm not going to say that Ohio State really played the most hardcore, gritty game that I've ever seen them play either. So, look.
Hey, how insecure do you have to be?
That's kind of what I'm saying. And here's the thing, too, is Ohio State, Big Ten football, right? What's the brand around it? It's run heavy. It's trenches. That's kind of, how Big Ten football's brand has been for a long time. You got Iowa, you got Wisconsin, you got Ohio State, you got Michigan. That's kind of the brand of football. All four of those teams play and have played for a long time for the most part. And lately, I think Ohio State has been getting bullied by Michigan in that regard, right? Like it wasn't because Michigan was the more talented team or had the better receivers that they won the past 2 years. It's because they play bully ball. So, I don't know. So maybe that's what's hitting him in the insecurity is that, that even though an 86-year-old man's saying it, it's there's enough of a grain of truth to it that it's getting under his skin like that. Anyways, again, I'm just here to talk shit and stir the pot as a Michigan fan. But, I'm just happy I'm not making enemies with 90-year-old men. I think, my confidence is high enough where I don't really got to
Imagine being Lou Holtz and you're just like watching the game. You're like, you fell asleep at halftime. You wake up the next morning. You're like, what? He singled me out.
First thing after winning the game is just like, oh, that's good. Other thing too is, and look, I would say Coach Prime, obviously, we know that he likes to talk trash. He also owns it when they lose. So you can take this whatever way that you want. But Oregon had the receipts, and they were definitely using Coach Prime's words against him throughout the week in their locker rooms, in their pregame meetings, and they dropped like this mini doc following this win.
Yeah, my problem with Colorado is there's trash talk and there's, motivating yourself for a game. And then there's disrespecting a team ahead of the game and then getting your ass beat, right? And there's trash talk and there's that stuff, but physically threatening and saying, I'll beat your ass to a coach pregame is kind of across that line of what's, where sportsmanship is, which is what Coach Prime preaches and all this stuff. That crosses the line. And then to go out there after doing all of that, and to get your ass stomped. Not a great look for Colorado. And kind of, I think, what a lot of people have been waiting to see is them against a true test, a true opponent. And Colorado's not ready for those big-time games yet, and that's clear. They have USC this week, and so we'll see how they handle the Caleb Williams show. But you play against real competition, and you get beat like that, you don't really deserve that respect everyone's giving you. That's all I'll say.
First of all, sorry for the technical difficulties there, and I'm assuming that video did not have audio while I was playing it. Okay, cool. I'll make sure to be on top of that next time. But couldn't agree more, Mark. And again, it's one thing to go out there, disrespect the team, and end up losing the game. They got blown out, man, and they're going to get probably blown out against USC too. So I do there's things I appreciate about their culture and what they're trying to do and kind of always having that underdog FU mentality all the time. But biggest thing with having that mentality is when push comes to shove, you need to show up and play ball and win games. And you make yourself look like a fool if you go out there and start saying, cussing and shit talking the other team on their home turf, dragging your cleats across the O, and then you get blown out. You just look silly. You look absolutely silly. So maybe that's a lesson. Maybe that's humbling. I'm not sure. It kind of seems like they're just going to keep that train going the way that it has been the past few weeks, no matter what the situation is. But
it was interesting to see how motivated Oregon was too. Like just basically like almost like a jealousy thing. Like why? Like we're undefeated. We're playing really good ball. We scored like 80 points in our first game. Like we're dominating teams that we're supposed to dominate, and no one's talking about us. No one's giving us the time of day. No one's even saying that we're a threat for the college football playoff or to win the Pac-12, or no one's saying we're going to dominate Colorado. And it was just kind of weird how motivated they were against a team that, I mean, that's not a rivalry game. I mean, that's not like historically like that big of a deal.
Right. I think that that other teams are going to be motivated in that same way, right? I mean, you can only stay in the spotlight and be that team that the media and that famous people and that whatever are attracted to for so long if you're not, winning games in a pretty, impressive fashion. And Colorado did the exact opposite of that this past weekend. And again, I mean, look, we'll see what another couple of years of Sanders recruiting and hype and coaching style does to this team. But sometimes you got to eat some humble pie for sure. All right, moving to our next segment after me messing with the screen sharing for a good 3 minutes there. So hopping to the NFL, now that we've gotten 3 weeks under a belt, who are the best rookies? Who has jumped out at you? Not just in quarterbacks, but just, first round picks, second round picks, really anybody in this past draft class. Obviously, there's some names up there that you're already seeing. Who's impressing the most? I have a short list. Mark, I don't know if you want to go first and maybe talk about some of your favorites so far.
Sure. Jalen Carter has stood out to me, not just with how he's impacting the run game, but the pass game as well. I didn't think that his impact would be that immediate, to be honest with you, especially with the rotation that the Eagles have up front already. And I thought he'd kind of be like that extra guy that just makes them a little bit better. He is like already their anchor on that defensive line. On the defensive line that last year was already really, really, really good. And that's been incredibly impressive to see. CJ Stroud looked a little shaky to start, but he showed some promising things in that Ravens game. They just couldn't finish the drives. They couldn't get points up on the board. But they kind of put all the pieces together here in week 3, and God, he looked for real. He really did look good. And then a Lions guy here, no bias about it, and I'm waiting to see what they do more with this guy, but Jahmyr Gibbs. When he does get the touches, when he does get the looks, the way they are trying to use him, I wish it would happen more. But when he does get those looks, God, his pace is unbelievable. He just looks like he is so much faster. He looks like he's playing in normal speed and everyone else is in slow motion, honestly. Like the second he gets the ball, he's full speed. And if we can, we got to spring him on some big plays and get him involved more in the passing game like they keep saying they want to do. He's unguardable from linebackers and safeties so far, and I'm just waiting for him to really explode.
Yeah, so I'm totally with you there on CJ Stroud. I actually just picked him up to be my backup QB in fantasy football because regardless of kind of, Houston's win total, he's, been putting up roughly 300 passing yards a game. Obviously, that's good for fantasy numbers regardless of what else is going on in the field. And I think he's impressed compared to the other rookie QBs, and that's with a very beaten up offensive line as well, and not a whole lot of receiving weapons either. So something to definitely keep an eye on here. I think and we'll get more into it when we review the games, but I think everybody was a little bit shocked at how they brought it to Jacksonville this past week, and I'm curious to see if they're able to keep that momentum up. Obviously, Puka Nacua has been the massive talk in both fantasy, but really just actual NFL football. He's the reception leader for any. I'm curious personally if this is like Stafford effect happening. Right, Cup's gone. He needs a guy to target all the time. Stafford's a gunslinger. It's kind of how he plays football, right? Is he just have a guy that he's just laser focused on targeting, or is this also like we're watching, a guy that just slipped too far because he was injured during the combine cycle, and his talent went more unnoticed than it should have been, and he's about to be a superstar. Playing now opposite of an aging Cooper Kupp, but still a very talented, very competent Cooper Kupp when he's around. And then another Lions guy, because he's just blown my mind, is Brian Branch. I mean, yeah, he made that mistake obviously against Seattle, but he's a rookie. I mean, that's going to happen. He's not playing an easy position. I mean, nickel corner is a very difficult position because you essentially have to be somebody that can cover and also play like a linebacker essentially. And I mean, he had 10 tackles, 3 passes batted down. He had some amazing run play tackles against Bijan, who we all know is no joke, this past week. And I mean, I think he's a superstar in the making. And again, we've talked about this a couple times. The fact that he fell to 45 or whatever he fell to in the second round is insane to me, because his measurables are there, his tape is there. I get he's like a touch slower than what they wanted him to be, at that position. But man, like, it does not show up on the field as far as slowness goes. He is on the spot. He seems to know what's going to happen, in a play before it happens a lot of the time too. He's been amazing. So those have kind of been some of my favorites, personally. How do you feel about Puka Nacua? Do you think that he's a superstar in the making, or is it Stafford effect?
It's surely not Stafford. It's more, I think, the system and the fact that he's kind of, with Cooper Kupp out, he's stepping into that Cooper Kupp role, which is clearly designed to feed him the ball. And so you're not going to transform your entire offensive game plan, your entire playbook, because Kupp is injured, right? So they went into the season, all camp, Kupp was practicing, and this is what Stafford and McVay, this is what they were doing as an offense. And Kupp goes down. You can't just change what your identity is. You can't just change what you're doing offensively. So he stepped in and he's exceeded expectations and then some. He's obviously playing way above what they expected him to be, or anybody expected him to be. But I think more of it is because of the system fit. And obviously he's a great player. I mean, you don't do what he's doing in the NFL if you're not a great player, no matter what your scheme is. But I think it's amplified a little bit because of who he's stepping in for and what they do offensively for Kupp to help him get open, to help him get creative matchups. And there's going to be film in this episode, which we've been wanting to do, and we finally in week 3 are going to get to some game film of Miami when we get to that game and break down some of the stuff they're doing to help their guys get open. But it's similar in LA. I mean, these guys all from the same coaching tree, moving people around, shifting offense before the snap of the ball, finding ways, creative ways to get your guys the ball with the same plays that look a little bit different each time. And Puka Nacua is just at the right spot at the right time, it seems like. But also don't want to discredit that he's playing out of his mind.
No, he is. I mean, he seems to catch everything that goes his way. So, and that is not an easy role to step into, no matter the system design. So, definitely shout out to Puka Nacua, and shout out to you if you happen to pick him up off of waivers in week 2, like everybody tried to do, because I'm sure you're sitting pretty. So moving on to our next topic, which obviously has been the talk of the town.
This is the topic, John.
It really is, and I also want to, we tried to have my friend Kaylee on, who actually shot Taylor Swift when she played her Detroit concert.
I thought you were gonna say like shot her like with a gun, dude. You gotta be a little more clear.
Yeah, sorry. Fun fact about that though, like, for people like Taylor Swift, there's actually like private military at those concerts.
I mean, dude, she's
management
larger than life.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's like a politician, right? Like, she
Bigger.
has her own like secret service.
She's like a god, dude. She's reached like a whole different status.
And we're gonna talk about that, right? But really, like, what a lot of people are talking about, what effect the NFL is going to have on her fan base. But I think it's more interesting talking about what her fan base is going to do to the NFL over the coming weeks here, right? Because they're rabid and they hyper-analyze everything. And I'm curious that, first of all, right, this is my tweet saying, like this is a psyop to get Swifties to watch football. Then as we go here, right, we have like graphics of Swifties getting football explained to them, and I'm like, okay, like kind of be expected. You know, Travis Kelce jersey selling 400% more. It's 300,000 Instagram followers from it. NFL doing all this silly stuff, but then we get weird, right? And then we have, you know, Swifties doing crazy, what is this called? Astrology charts, trying to figure out all this stuff. And this is where I'm getting, okay, so what happens when this type of stuff is now entering into the NFL and we're getting like spells casted on Travis Kelce because of something going on with the Taylor Swift relationship? Also, eventually they're probably going to break up just based off of, you know,
they're not lasting.
I was going to say, I'd love to say this, you know, Travis Kelce is the one for Taylor. I'd love to say that. But you know, I'm not entirely sure that's the case. So when they do break up, what is going to be the response, right? I'm very curious on what's going to happen there. Also, really quick, you know, Fox pretty much flexed out of the Bears-Chiefs game because of how much of a blowout it was. There was one demographic that saw a spike in the amount of people watching, and this gets cut off a little bit here, but there was an 8.1% spike in the amount of women in the 12 to 17 age range that were watching that game. Probably not a coincidence there. So
I mean,
the
that's
Swiftie
just bizarre,
effect
dude.
is real. It's crazy.
I mean, where do we draw the line with this? Like, it's like a cult. It's like a takeover.
I don't even know if it's like a cult. I'd say it definitively is one.
I mean, but the biggest thing about it is obviously she's going to bring new eyes to football, and Travis Kelce's going to get all kinds of new fame and fortune just by being mentioned in the same sentence as her. She's also going to get a little bit of fans come her way through Kelce, not nearly the same extent. But my whole thing is, I don't think they're a good couple. They look awkward. I know they're early on, but they don't look right. She's kind of dorky. He doesn't. His personality seems to not really like match what she is. I mean, I don't obviously know them, but for what we've seen in videos and documentaries and how she performs, how he performs on the field and stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, the video of them walking out of the stadium, they're not holding hands. Their hands are literally both down at their sides. It's not like they're holding anything, and they're just not holding hands. They're not touching each other. They're not really.
I thought they were holding hands in that video, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess like, you know, I think from the brand of football that Kelce plays, him being a tight end, him playing for the Chiefs, like that kind of, I feel like goes with the whole, like, you know, like I don't know if Kansas City likes to call itself like Southern, because I guess it isn't. It's more like middle America. But like based off of that and maybe Taylor Swift's kind of demographic, I could kind of see some crossover there. Them as people, though, not as much, right?
Dude, talk about shooting your shot, though, John. Guys on a podcast like me and you are right now with his brother and just casually mentions the fact that he's going to this Taylor Swift concert. He wants to make her like a freaking bracelet or something and get her, you know, basically ask her out and get her number. He just mentions this casually on their podcast, and somehow it gets back to her clearly, and it comes to fruition. The guy's dating her. Like, I mean, if I just mention that I want to get with Sydney Sweeney on this podcast, is that just going to happen overnight? Is that how these things work? Like, I mean, talk about shooting your shot and hitting your shot from full court.
He's the best tight end.
Yeah, but dude, she's Taylor Swift.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, Tom Brady kind of was able to punch above his weight class.
Best quarterback's different. Best and 7-time Super Bowl champ and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, I get big time athletes are obviously some of the top bachelors in the world. It's just crazy how he did it. It's not like he bumped into her at a party or he knew somebody. Like, he was going to her concert like a freaking fan. And he's just like, oh, I hope maybe the girl I'm going to pay $3,000 for a ticket to see sees this clip of me talking about how I think she's cute and I want to give her a bracelet and ask her out.
I wonder if he was close enough where she could pick him out in the crowd because of how tall and large he is.
I highly doubt it, dude, honestly. You know how many people are at those? Like, I don't.
Yeah, but like
I think he said that he didn't get to meet her. He was bummed. He didn't get to meet her at the concert. He wanted to. He had this whole plan. And that's what he said to Jason, his brother, on the pod. And then that clip got absolutely blown up and clearly got back to her. And one way or another, they're dating. I mean, that's crazy to me. that how it actually happened is crazy. I get he's a superstar, but she's like a different level of stardom than
I'm curious the ripple effect that this story is going to have for the coming weeks. Like that's what I like, and again, like the effect that the Swift fan base is going to have on the NFL is what's more interesting to me because like I'm trying to imagine in my head like the kind of backlash that's going to occur, like things that Swift fans do, you know, in relation to Kelsey, if there's any drama. Like I'm just imagining all of that in my head. And also,
how mad do you think Mahomes' wife is?
Yeah, I mean,
she sucks. The whole, you know, she's the show, Pat's the show. No longer, dude. When Taylor shows up at the game, complete takeover.
I mean, you got to know your place, I would hope.
Jackson Mahomes is probably like, oh shit, you know, like you're forgotten about. You're a nobody.
The more that they're out of the picture, the better.
I hate both of them.
Yeah,
his wife and his brother.
I hate Jackson a whole lot more. His wife's just annoying. She didn't do anything wrong. I think Jackson's just straight up a bad person.
Yeah, you can hate people for being annoying, though. I mean,
yeah, but
she's really
that's why
annoying.
you hate me. So I get it, but you know, but yeah, I'm genuinely curious, and also the breakup song, right? Whenever that breakup does occur, like, are we gonna get? Because that's gonna have a very different vibe to it than pretty much all of her other breakup songs that she has, and it's probably gonna be hard to kind of like disguise who she's talking about through metaphor and stuff. Like, oh,
I don't know if Travis realizes how many 14 to 28-year-old girls are gonna absolutely despise him when they break up. And how that might change his life.
He's signing up for. He doesn't know what he's getting into. He's crossing the Rubicon.
I think
he has already crossed the Rubicon.
I think he's making a mistake. I think he's making a mistake.
Only time will tell, but I'm in the same boat as you. All right, enough talking about Travis Kelce's love life, and we can hop straight into the football games. If that's good with you, unless you have anything else you want to say.
Yeah, we did have another, our friend, Sophie, was a little bit too nervous to come on, she said, because she doesn't really know football, but she's like, hey, Mark, I've always joked about coming on the podcast. I don't know anything, but like, would there ever be a better time? I invited her on, and she said, you know what? I'll pass. So
all right, maybe we can bring her or Kaylee on when the breakup occurs. And
this is not gonna. Yeah, this isn't just gonna be a current event. This is gonna continue on.
No, like I said, it's gonna be a long news cycle.
Is she gonna go to every game? Like, I wonder.
Every. Well, I don't know. I think she's a little too busy for that. But I heard that she's home from tour until the beginning of November. So everybody's got that mapped out. That at least we might be hearing about this for 6 weeks at least.
Yeah.
So. All right, without further ado, let's hop into reviewing last week's games.
I mean, this is a football podcast, so.
This is a football podcast. We will do our best to bring football to you. Hold on, let me see. Does this cut that off? No, it doesn't. Cool. Okay, so first things first, Mark and I had a much better betting weekend as far as our picks go, with one exception.
Yeah, let's keep that big, dude. Let's keep that big.
And we'll get to it very shortly here. But first of all, New York Giants at 49ers. That game went about as expected. The Giants just couldn't hang. I mean, 49ers defense was too good. 49ers offense was too good. I was just really impressed with Brock Purdy. Looked pretty rough in the first half, but I was impressed with his ability to just continue to spread the ball around. I got hurt with as many weapons as you have. That isn't, a huge miss or whatever. But, Reed stepping up and just killing it, filling in those shoes. And then obviously Debo had an amazing game. CMC had an amazing game. I think even Kyle Juszczyk got a couple touches too. Like, it was just a fun game to watch.
They feed their talent, dude. They feed their talent.
And I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of the anti-Brock Purdy narratives, because like I get it's like an easy to be like, oh, is he the guy? Is he the guy because of the fact that he was Mr. Irrelevant? I'm sorry, man. Stat lines look decent and they're winning games. He's undefeated in the regular season with that team. Nothing matters more than winning games, right? I know a guy in the 6th round that wasn't the most talented guy, in the world and whatever, and he stepped up and started winning a shit ton of games. His name is Tom Brady. Am I trying to make direct one-to-one comparisons? No, but I'm trying to say that if you're in the right system and you do your job and you win a shit ton of games, that should be all that matters, right? Last I checked.
If you're given the opportunity, run with it. The offense is clicking, their defense is clicking. The Giants stink, and our preseason prediction of them stinking is really looking true because we said it last year. They're in all these close games. They had the easiest schedule last year. This year their schedule is one of the hardest. They didn't really change their team, and I mean, you add the fact that Saquon doesn't play in the game, like you're not going to beat the 49ers. So.
Also, I was correct in saying that Darren Waller is going to get a lot of targets this season. What I forgot is that dude's hands are made of stone. Oh my gosh!
Also, Daniel Jones sucks.
Yeah, and he cannot put a pass accurately to your 6'6" tight end somehow. So, I mean, there's so many ways that you could put a ball in an area where only he can catch it, and somehow he was passing it in which not even he could catch it a lot of the time.
There's 40 million different ways, John. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're not catching on to it. They paid Daniel Jones $40
size of his contract. Got it. I was like, where are you going with that? Yeah, which that's a whole different can of worms to open. Hopping into Bills Commanders, before I actually talk about this game, this is the headline that just came out recently, is that a Native American group, I believe by the name of the Native American Guardians Association, is suing the Commanders, formerly known as the Washington Football Team, formerly known as the Redskins, for defamation because of the fact that the Commanders changed their name. They're essentially saying that the Redskin emblem was an actual Native American chief. And it was kind of, from their perspective, a way to honor and uphold Native American traditions and culture and stuff like that. And now that's kind of being, erased and washed away. This is going to be an ongoing debate. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think they will ever call themselves the Redskins again. And it doesn't seem to be because Native Americans are upset about it. As Mark kind of said before the podcast started rolling, it's because of a bunch of whiny white people that, are trying to be sensitive about everything. Not to say that there isn't merit to that discussion, but I think that Native American people should be leading that discussion, not white people that have nothing to do with it. So this is
the easiest take of all time. It's the easiest take of all time. If the people that are offended by the Redskins name, their logo, or whatever it is, aren't the native people themselves, if they actually support it and are proud of it, then isn't it doing exactly the opposite of what everyone's saying it was doing and why you had to remove it? I mean, you have the Central Michigan Chippewas, which I played for, and the Chippewa tribe is very much involved in the university and the culture at that school and the culture with the sports teams there. They're very much proud to be represented by the Central Michigan and be called the Chips and the Chippewas. They're proud of that. They're involved. They would be really, really furious and angry and upset if that name were to get changed. And so when you look at that and you look at the Florida State Seminoles, right? Same thing, same situation. If this is what, I mean, like you said, John, the people that are complaining about this aren't them. That's not the people that are complaining.
Was there ever discussions at Central Michigan about changing the name, or were there stupid conversations?
Every few years, the discussion comes up, especially when the Redskins name was changed. Obviously, that resurfaced down to, hey, well, this is an offensive thing to do. It's only offensive if the people that it is quote unquote attacking are the ones offended. White people, in summary, ruin everything, and they. That's the people that are fighting and saying that these logos, that these names are offensive, and in some cases they are. I thought the Cleveland Indians logo was probably pretty offensive, and I think there's not much debate there. But again, if it's not offending the native people themselves, and they're actually proud to be represented by these teams, and listen. You look at the logos we have on the screen right now: Bears, Panthers, Jaguars, Lions. These are all cool things, things that are aggressive and they have a lot of pride, and they're dominant in their force of nature. And there's a lot that represents why these football teams choose these things. And if you want to be represented by a tribe and all the things that they represent, which are all good things, I don't see what the problem is if those people aren't offended. So that's my take on it. And clearly the people that wanted it to get this name changed so aggressively were not the people that we thought originally.
Yeah, and look, I don't keep enough of a pulse on a situation to know on whether or not in Native American circles there's a debate or an active tug of war happening on what the perspectives are. Mostly what I've heard is that they don't care. If there are people that do care, then my bad for glossing over that. But from what I can tell, that isn't the case. Anyways, the Commanders, the Commies, the least American franchise in all of football right now, got absolutely blown out by the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are starting to look like the Bills again, where their offense is just, very, very difficult to handle. There's too many attacks coming from too many different places. Josh Allen is lightning in a bottle, and it's just, you get just punched in the face and you're knocked out, right? Colin Cowherd likes to call him the Mike Tyson team, right? Like he if they go the distance with a good defense, you can stop them. Otherwise, they're a freight train that you're not going to be able to stop. They're going to knock you out. And that's exactly what this game was.
Yeah, Joshy seems to be back. I'm really happy for him. Maybe he's breaking the Madden curse. I'm not totally bought into the Bills yet after that first week. I have to see some more from them. Beating up on average or, mid-level teams doesn't make you great. And that's what they've done the last 2 weeks. So I'm careful to get back on the Bills train. But this is a good win, huge step in the right direction, and it's good to see them rolling again. But yeah, Washington's got to figure it out on the field and off the field.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna make sure I'm presenting a tab here so that everybody can hear the audio. Very important that everybody hears the audio for this next bit here.
Never my best bets ever again.
Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking. You told yourself this last year.
You know what?
I got
Do
you.
it.
So that's us adding, as you can see down in the ticker, remind Mark not to take Denver in anything. He made this mistake a ton last year.
Exclamation point. Save.
And
back.
There you go.
20 minutes later.
John, I'm going to do something. What's up?
No, you're not. No, you're not. Dude, it's in the ticker now.
Hey, this screams fishy. Screams Broncos covering 6.5. That's what
It screams it.
Drew,
It screams it.
when you watch this, I need you to clip it. And I am going to pull this clip up and make Mark watch every single second of it. I'm making a note of it right now to never.
And here you are watching every single second of it. Mark, what was the score of that game?
Can I just say what was going through my head?
What was the score of that game? But then you can say whatever you want about it. It's going to be a rough 5-10 minutes here for you, for sure.
It was 70-20.
Yeah, 70-20. The most that the Miami Dolphins have ever scored in a football game ever, and could have broken the NFL record had Mike McDaniel decided not to just show a little mercy to this team and not kick a field goal just for the hell of it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This is probably the worst take ever recorded on a podcast. Yeah, it's got to be. Not only did I confidently say that the Broncos would cover 6.5, I told myself 20 minutes prior not to do it. And obviously no one knew it'd be this bad, but I'm not going to lie.
Like 44 points.
Dude, when I made this pick and I put it in my best bets, I was pretty damn confident. And then I was busy. I actually got called into work on Sunday, so I was missing some of these the early games. And I get a break and I look at my phone and I see 70 points and several text messages from friends of the show that watched that clip or that episode, and I knew it'd be bad. I just knew it was going to be bad. Just an all-time, credibility damn near completely gone.
Something tells me that you're not going to ignore the reminder in the ticker for the rest of the season. That's basically because you want to. I think I said this last week. Look, are you trying to embarrass yourself? I
felt that the Broncos defense was better than it was. I felt like Miami wasn't as good as as you were saying they were. I knew they were good. I didn't think that they had one of the most efficient offenses of all time through 3 games in NFL history. I didn't think they'd score the 3rd most points in a game in NFL history. I didn't think that they'd come out and just dominate a Sean Payton coach team like that.
Are we ready to have a discussion? I know it's week 3. Are we prepared to have a discussion that this might be one of the greatest offenses in NFL history that we're currently watching? From a scheme perspective, from the athletes on the field that are executing that scheme. I mean, yes, the Broncos are not good. I think that's clear. There's probably going to be some tough conversations about the defensive coordinator position before the season's over on the Broncos side, if not this week, if we're being honest. But to put up 70 points on an NFL team that had a good defense last year, I mean, they still got good corners. They still got good linebackers. Crazy. I want to bring this is not that good of a graphic, but this is interesting. Fastest ball carriers in a game this season. Do you notice a trend with the top 6 there?
Tyreek Hill, 22 miles per hour. Devon, I think it's how do you say his last name?
It's not a chain. That's what everybody's saying.
I think it's a Kane, isn't it? Or
no, it's not that either.
Anyways, he was at 21. Tyreek Hill again. Mostert, Tyreek Hill again, and then Devon Kane, or however you say his last name. We'll get it right because he deserves to get it, after the performance he had week 3, we got to say his name right for sure.
I'm just bummed that the move the chains pun with him doesn't work because apparently that's not how you pronounce it. But yeah, so fastest show on turf. That's, I guess not even worth debating at this point, but are they one of the best in NFL history? That's what the season will tell us.
We'll find out. I mean, through 3 games, there's no arguing it. Through 3 games, they're in the conversation, and if they stay at the pace. The thing with offensive football is, how do you adjust and continue to tweak and continue to improve? Because defenses will start to adjust, and it seems like Miami's got this hot trend, this new thing that everybody else is copying, and we'll get into some film of this here in a second, and everyone else is trying to steal it, but eventually defenses start to figure it out a little bit, and it's just a matter of what are they going to do to defend it, and then how does Mike McDaniel counter their counter. Football is very much like chess, when it comes to play calling. So we'll take a look at some of the film, and
we have, I believe, 4 examples of this. And before we hop into this, it is worth noting the Dolphins motion somebody before the snap almost 84% of the time in 3 games. I don't expect that rate to slow down much because it seems to be a crucial way that they're able to kind of get guys open, confuse defenses.
Which, for those who don't know, is an unheard of percentage of motion and shifts. And John, if you pause it here before we get into this first play, as we break this down, the reason, just so people are clear and understand why that benefits an offense so much, is because it's quarterback friendly. It puts the defense in a predicament of you can't dictate what the offense does, because defensive football is reactive, right? You have to respond to what the offense does, how they line up, how they move. So if you come out and you're stationary, you don't move a lot. You come out in similar formations a lot. You run the same plays that look the same, and you don't change how you're doing them. Defenses can start to figure out, they can predict what you're going to do, and then therefore they can guess right and put themselves in defense-friendly calls. But because of what Mike McDaniel and this offense does with the weapons that they have, it's very, very hard to defend. It's very easy for Tua to see where he needs to look and scan the field. It's very easy for blocks to become easier, right, because of alignment and because of where these guys are motioning to. And do you motion to get numbers? Do you motion to disguise where you're going with the ball? So we'll get in the film and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
And so really quick, just what front are we currently looking at? This looks like kind of like a 5-2 and then what, 2 safeties? What are
2 safeties with the 2 corners. It's probably either variation of a cover 2 look. It looks like they'll probably bring pressure here. Right. And it's probably a variation of cover 2 or quarters, if I had to guess, which is cover 4 is quarters. Mm-hmm. But if you see, Miami's just in a 2-back set with 2 receivers in the game and a tight end, and they do this cheetah motion is what they're calling it. That cheetah motion is just an out motion. It's just an exit motion. It's just the guy going from tight in the formation to wide in the formation. So you can let this play. This is the first touchdown to Tyreek Hill. We'll watch from the other angle.
I actually want to back this up real quick, if you don't
Sure.
mind, just because like keep an eye on where Tyreek is and how somehow, some way he basically goes uncovered here.
It attacks the zone, right? So this is definitely a quarter zone. You can see because the safety, and they do a simple high-low concept. So if you go back one more time, John,
Yep.
This is a quarters beating coverage. The safety to the bottom of the screen and the corner are responsible for 25% of the field each. This receiver on the bottom of the screen runs right into their zone, and Pat Surtain chases it, and then the safety comes down to chase it. Tyreek runs right over the top of that safety zone because he got over-aggressive, which is just a defensive mistake. But it's open because of the play design. The motion shows pre-snap that it's not straight man-to-man. It shows that it's some type of zone, which helps to process this play quicker and avoid a sack. And then obviously just the play design of the route shows that they're trying to grab that near side safety, that safety on the right side of the screen right now, number 32, pull him down, use Tyreek's speed to get behind him. It's already hard enough to stay on top of Tyreek Hill, but when you do concepts like this, because what choice do you have? The other choice would be 32 stays high, guards Tyreek, and then this near side receiver runs open across the field. So it's plus, look at the pocket. Look at the protection. There's no pressure on Tua whatsoever.
No. It's crazy. Also, Drew threw into the chat. It's Devon Achane.
Okay.
Achane.
Yeah, let's not forget that because he's a dude.
Yeah, he's definitely a dude. And again, I mean, Miami just knowing they like speed on offense, and that seems to be how they've drafted. And then the next timestamp you got is 17:35. Shout out NFL for not breaking these down by plays. They just give you an entire reel of film to have to work with.
Yeah, it's really annoying, actually. They need to clip that.
Can I make it just, working in software, I have to make this complaint. You click on the setting wheel, and there's just one button, speed. And then you have to click into that to change the speed.
Yeah, they're clearly not very
not tech savvy.
Adapted to what the whole purpose of all 22 film is that you can break it down and continue to watch it slow-mo.
Multi-billion-dollar organization, most profitable sports organization in the world, and they have to give us 2 buttons to change the speed because they can't figure it out. Anyways, I'm sure all of the coders and UI developers that watch this show just got really pissed at that too. So, all right.
So here you see again, Tyreek Hill is going to line up in kind of like a hump, like slot. This is what they're calling a cheetah motion, where he goes out again, right? And it puts these guys in a pickle because if you see the defenders, they're manned up pre-snap on these 2 guys, but because of that exit motion, they have to execute either a switch call or a lock call. Like, the safety has to talk to the corner. Are you going to take Tyreek because you crossed my guy and you take my guy now? Or are you going to follow past my guy and stay on Tyreek? Clearly, there's a lack of communication here. It forces you to play off coverage as well, so you can't press and try to slow Tyreek down physically. So now you get off coverage against Tyreek Hill, which good luck in any underneath combination, curls, comebacks, double moves, whatever. If you're in a bailing technique against that guy, you are not going to cover him in man-to-man. You can see right here, there's communication. It's a simple motion, very, very simple. It's not like they're, reinventing the wheel, but this is really put the NFL in a pickle. Like, some of the best defensive minds, Belichick could not figure this out. I mean, they did it so many times in that game as well, and that's what I'm talking about. Just a simple motion like that gets Tyreek Hill in a great man-to-man situation, and it's pitch and catch from that point.
What do you feel like? And obviously, this is going to be the active discussion that's going to go on the entire season for defensive minds of the NFL. What's the fix to that? Like, is there one?
I mean, more zone, more zone, more aggressive zone. Your linebackers have to be able to drop into those windows better. But the problem is their running game is good as well. Like, if Miami was only passing the ball, that's one thing, but because they're running the ball efficiently and they're using these motions to help in their run game as well, it's really, really hard because you got to pick your poison. Do you stuff the run and force Tua to throw, or do you play with a lighter box to take Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and those guys out of the game, and then Miami's just going to run the ball downhill? This play was one of the more creative plays of the day. If you go back, John, they run a shit ton of what's called like a GT, right? Which is where you pull the guard tackle, and you set it up with this slip, right? Which you can see what this fullback does here. He slips into the flat on a quick out route, and it's like kind of like an inside zone bluff is what they call it. But they've done this so much down in the red zone. They've done this so much. You see him do this short motion back. Everything looks like they're going to do the same play action where he slips into the flat. So what do? Everything's looking like that pre-snap. Tua's looking that way. And then he no-look flips to the guy that's underneath because the Broncos over-respond to something that they've seen on film already probably 5 or 6 times this year for big plays, is that inside zone bluff that they're doing there. And so what does Mike McDaniel do? He builds a play, calculates this play off of a play they've had success with, knowing Denver's preparing, how do I stop this inside zone bluff play? This is how we're going to stop it, by overreacting to it. And Mike McDaniel dials it up at the right time.
By the way, that's the type of games that Andy Reid likes to play with people all the time. That's why their stupid shovel passes in the red zone work so often for KC and not for really any other team in the NFL, is because they're really good at selling that in a multitude of different ways, trying to convince the defense something else is happening. They draw up the shovel play differently just about every time that they run it, and they run the stupid shovel, and it's right there. The no-look element, obviously, super sick. And it's just scary to think that, like, you know, you're having, like, Shanahan kind of tree execution with his style of offense, with the kind of creativity that you can see from, you know, Andy Reid, where you're getting so much volume of just different motions, different disguises that they're running all the time, drawing up new plays each week. I mean, that's a nightmare to deal with as a defense.
Yeah.
How you stop this, I'm not sure. I guess, like you said, like, teams are going to have to come up with something later in the season, or Miami's not going to be stopped all season. This next play, 340. Okay, here we go. My bad.
I think this is the last clip from this game that we'll show, and then we'll get into the next games. But again, this is the opposite of a cheetah motion. This is where they come in, okay? So they call it like a Zin or an X-in motion, and then you see them start to return out. So again, it looks similar to what they do all the time. It's this short motion. What are they going to do? Everyone thinks he's going to cross Tyreek Hill and then become the inside receiver here, right? So when you watch him go in motion, the defense thinks, okay, he's going to pass him. This is Braxton Berrios. Nope. He returns as the check down in the flat. That holds this guy who was lined up on Tyreek Hill in this zone coverage. It holds Pat Surtain, and all Tyreek does is run a simple 5-step bang route, post route, and then you just see what he does after the catch. Now, this he can't coach. This is just God-given. But it's the ability to get him in that situation to make that play that is what's making Miami so tough to stop.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And it's simple, honestly. Like, these plays are not, like, he's not making up new plays. He's just designing new ways to get to these plays, and he's calling them at the right times against the right looks. And you dial up the right play call against the wrong look, and usually the offense is going to have a favorable matchup on that play. That's just how football works. And he's doing it at an alarmingly high rate. And like we said, he's using motion, almost 84% of the time, you said? That's like never before been done. Not at that high of a rate.
Yeah, just absolutely crazy. Hopping into Colts Baltimore, which ended up being a very interesting game. And look, I mean, we're already at that point in the season where Baltimore's really starting to struggle with injury. You can only make so many excuses in reference to that, though. They should have not lost this game, period. They made a decent amount of mistakes in offense. And, Justin Tucker missed a field goal, which is rare. And Matt Gay was just, freaking banging them out from 50 yards over and over and over again to keep the Colts in this game. Ends up being a pretty crazy win for the Colts. So, they're going now. I'm curious what they do with Gardner Minshew going forward here because, I mean, you got to make that balance of, developing your rookie quarterback, but also winning some games in the season because, Minshew can play, man. He really can. He's one of the more solid backup quarterbacks in this league. So
it's the Battle of Baltimore, right? It was the Baltimore Colts for many, many, many years, and now it's the Baltimore Ravens. The Colts are now in Indy. No one saw this one coming, I'll be honest. No one saw Minshew going in there and pulling off a win. Lamar Jackson struggled a little bit in the passing game in this one. a little shaky passing the ball in these first 3 games overall. He's showed some.
I wouldn't go that far. I feel like the first 2 games he looked a good bit better. But yeah, I would say this was his weakest offensive performance so far.
I mean, again, he ran the ball in this game and made plays with his legs, but this guy, I think he only has 1 touchdown pass through 3 games.
Air yards have been solid though, so I don't know.
I
know this will continue to be the debate all season on whether or not Baltimore's legit. And I mean, this division is kind of shaking out how we expected it to. Lots of chaos. Every team's kind of, squeaking out wins. Like it's going to be neck and neck the entire season.
I'll be honest, I didn't even think the Colts would win 2 games all year. And they're 2-1.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah. Okay, so Chargers Vikings. It was weird because I said this game isn't over, and I basically said that was like a lock that was going to happen. It ended up being an over. I was holding my breath at halftime though, because there was not a lot of scoring. And shocker, it's because there was a bunch of turnovers on the Viking side of things, so they weren't really able to get it going. And then Chargers couldn't figure it out against one of the worst defenses in the league for whatever reason. Things started moving. Keenan Allen ended up having a career game. And the Chargers get by, and, Brandon Staley, as a result, still has a job. And the conversation's starting to get pretty rough in Minnesota because all of a sudden, the team that won every single 1-score game that they played last season is now 0-3 in 1-score games. And that was kind of what Mark and I predicted, is you don't get that lucky over and over and over again in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. And now there's conversations about Kirk Cousins and his future with the Vikings, which leads to conversations about, is Justin Jefferson going to want to stick around for a rebuild once he's a free agent in a year? Lots of interesting things going on in Minnesota. They have a defense that they are unable to fix. They have an offense that's missing a run game. And they are right there with the Bears, rock bottom of the NFC North. So that's my takeaway from this game. And it's also crazy because of the fact that, the Chargers finally were able to put something together. But, if the Vikings are really that bad defensively, they should have, scored a lot more points, in my opinion, as well. So
I'm gonna unload on both these teams, you just did, but I'm gonna unload even more. I will oftentimes do an idiot of the week on this podcast when it comes week to week. There's 2 of them in this episode, by the way. Actually 3. I'm one of those idiots. But there's 2 other ones in this episode. The Vikings at the end of the game, what are you doing? You get a first down catch. You're tackled inbounds. You don't have timeouts. There's over 20 seconds left in the game. You choose not to spike the ball. It gets down to like 7 seconds left in the game. Now you have 2 snaps maximum. You have to throw it to the end zone because if you throw it short and get tackled, the game's going to end. And Kirk Cousins forces a throw into a tight window, and then Hockenson, it actually was a good throw, and then Hockenson drops it in the worst possible way, somehow flicks it up into the air for the easiest interception that you'll ever get to seal the game. On top of that horrible, horrible management by Minnesota, also, just use a timeout, spike the ball, you didn't have timeouts, spike the ball, get yourself together, look at the call sheet, decide what you like, get in a good play, go over the situation in your head. You're always going to have the advantage as an offense. Okay, so that's the Vikings. The Chargers, Staley is insane. With on the hot seat, like you said, 4th and 2 on your own 25-yard line, and you go for it. You went for it to try to win the game on that play, and you don't get it with a very bad play call, giving the Vikings every opportunity in the world to go win the game. Both those coaches, it was like they're trying to lose. So idiot of the week, both those guys, and then there will be another one later in this episode on top of me being an idiot as well. A lot of idiots in this episode. But yeah, that was very, very stupid by both teams, and neither team deserved to win, and somehow the Chargers lived to fight another day, and the Vikings might be dead.
Yeah, Vikings probably dead. I think their playoff odds are at like 6% now, which is not fun to be at 3 games into the season. So Patriots at Jets. This game was brutal to watch, and Zach Wilson was getting slandered by the end of it. There's this Jets fan, in a thick East Coast, kind of New York accent. He's shouting, "These tickets weren't cheap" at Zach Wilson, and as he's walking through the tunnel. They're pissed that they went into the season thinking that Aaron Rodgers was going to solve all their problems and they were going to be a Super Bowl tier team. And now they're dealing with the same situation they were last year. But hold up, Trevor Simeon's coming to save the day, right, Mark? And that will hopefully cure all of their quarterback problems. And they're going to go 9-8, make the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers will be fully healed from an Achilles after 5 months. That's what's going to happen. Right?
Listen, you've heard of jaw-droppingly bad. You've never heard of teeth-droppingly bad. The fan that was yelling and lost his dentures that got caught. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, there's a Jets fan that's yelling and clearly upset with the performance of Zach Wilson and these Jets, and his dentures fall out. He catches them right here, and he puts them back in. So that kind of redefined that term. This was a terrible game. It showed that both these teams aren't very good. And
also, Mac Jones, we have to talk about this, going for the nut tap on Sauce Gardner. I think all the film shows that. I don't understand, Mac Jones, why you want to be known as a dirty player, because this is the third instance in Mac Jones's career where on film, it's like clear that he's going for a dude's nuts when he's sliding, when he's running, all of that stuff. It's like, it's like the unspoken, gentleman's rule that you leave a dude's junk alone, especially on a football field.
It's like you forget that you're playing with cameras from literally every different angle that you can ever possibly imagine. I mean, there's literally robot sky cameras, drones flying around filming these games now. We just watched all 22 film. Do you think we were not going to see that on one of these angles? You're not going to get away with much in today's NFL.
No, it's absolutely crazy that on multiple occasions he thinks that's something you can try to get away with at this point. It's wild. And the other thing too is congrats to those that bet the under on this game. I think it was 37, which is very low, and they still obviously with 25 total points.
You did kind of call that as a something to look out for.
Yeah.
Dude, you have some things to talk about with this Saints loss.
In the defense of the Saints loss, Derek Carr got hurt. I think he has a shoulder injury, something like that.
AC joint.
AC joint. Is that a shoulder?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a doctor. My bad. But yeah, Saints were up 17-zip in the second half, and Carr goes down, and the whole vibe of the game goes in the opposite direction. Green Bay is able to come back and win it. It was brutal. It was super brutal to watch, especially because they shouldn't have been in that similar thing where they shouldn't have been in that situation, right? I mean, I get your run game isn't good, but if you're up at that point, again, trust your defense, man. Run the ball. You shouldn't be passing it as much as you were. And I think that did come to their detriment, right? That's what, gave Green Bay just enough time to go down and win this last minute. So
you can't blow a 17-point fourth quarter lead in the NFL. I don't care if it's Jameis at quarterback, Derek Carr, I don't care.
It comes down to coaching at that point. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you could hand it off and go 3-out and still have some pretty decent odds.
Yeah, you can't blow it. But give the Packers a little bit of credit, Jordan Love a little bit of credit. Hey, that's the biggest fourth quarter comeback or second half comeback since the Aaron Rodgers perk game, where he took the painkillers at halftime against the Bears, came out, literally wasn't making sense in his post-game interview. So
battle for the
big time home opener win for the boys in Lambeau, and the Saints. At least you get to watch Jameis Winston. You wanted that all last year.
Hey man, famous Jameis, let's do it.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I mean, obviously huge divisional game coming on Thursday. So actually I had the treat of on Sunday, Hannah was playing a gig downtown in Austin, and her stage was directly next to a projector screen with Sunday Night Football. And the band and people that were with the band also had an open bar tap. So really good night for me for 3 different reasons. Ideal Sunday night. And this Thursday, Hannah and I are also going to be going to a show, seeing our friends in Silent Planet. Shout out Silent Planet and their vocalist, Garrett. He's a huge 49ers fan. Always love the music sports crossover, but I'm going to be watching that show while also watching the Thursday night football game. I made sure that the venue has TVs, so that's going to be killer. And look, man, huge opportunity for the Lions to go and get the NFC North here. We'll talk about that 2 games. First, we have to talk about the Titans offense not existing. They're not real. They basically just, do 3 and outs, and that's what they're good at. Derrick Henry held for 20 yards. DeAndre Hopkins was nowhere to be found. Ryan Tannehill holds on to the ball for way too long. Just really rough if you're a Titans fan. And you can't even lean on your defense in this particular game because the Browns dog walk you.
The Browns defense they're legit, dude. They're one of the best defenses.
Dude,
two tight ends following Myles Garrett.
When one guy has to draw the attention of 2 of your players on defense, that's a problem. Just so you know.
I mean, it's not just Myles Garrett though. I mean, they're good. They're well rounded as a defense. Jim Schwartz is doing a good job as the defensive play caller there. Yes, the Titans' offense is struggling, and they need to figure that out quickly. But you got to give the Browns a very good amount of credit. They've been very good defensively in every game this year. And when you play that good defensively and you play like Deshaun Watson and that offense played in this game, like the Browns are going to be a team that hangs around that 10-win number and might flirt with winning this division. I'm telling you, we talked about it in our if you go back to recent episodes, we broke down and did kind of a preview of every division. And so you want to go back and look like, hey, maybe Mark's not a complete idiot after this Broncos take. Sometimes, most of the time, I'd say I'm accurate in my statements, and the Browns are legit.
You have a huge football brain, and you just happen to make the exact wrong take a lot of the times. Lions win total last year that you still have a debt to collect on there. So,
Broncos.
I guess, what is that? December? Broncos. I mean,
70 burger.
It's actually going to be sweet kind of watching the ticker just turn into your mistakes following you.
It's kind of just like a haunting. It's like my life, really. It's just all my past mistakes, all my horrible decisions just like following me.
It's kind of the equivalent of like getting chewed out in film after making a mistake in the game. Never fun, in front of your team to get chewed out for something or to make a bad play. But now, instead of your team, it's the entire internet, world. And it lasts way longer than just those few minutes. Yeah, it's in the ticker, solidified forever in all of history.
Yeah, you should try to get that clip on the freezing cold takes Twitter.
Yeah, I think
it wouldn't be hard to try just send them a couple messages with that clip and just. They watch it. I mean, it's one of the worst takes you're ever going to find. So
yeah, Drew, if you're still watching, maybe you can take last week's clip and then Mark getting flamed in this week's episode, kind of do a little combination there, and that's a perfect just narrative and story to kind of nice little bow tie on it. It's perfect. All right, Falcons at Lions. I think the biggest takeaway with this game is Lions defense stepped up against a team that has an amazing run game. And look, I 100%, as I think most Lions fans do at this point, have questions about our secondary. Our run game is legit, and it's legit in more than one way. Our defensive line steps up to it. Our nickel corner, Brian Branch, can definitely step up. He had a bunch of amazing run tackles, and our linebackers are really solid too. So that was a great takeaway. And look, the Falcons defense is nothing to sneeze at either. And, Goff and the boys were able to play a pretty clean game and get the win scoring only 20 points. So pretty exciting to watch. I thought we dominated, and that's kind of what we needed to bounce back from after that, demoralizing overtime loss to Seattle. My big takeaway with this, all 4 rookies drafted in the first and second rounds are really stepping up to the plate. Campbell had a sack, he had a couple good tackles. Laporta had a stellar game. As you said, Gibbs, I mean, as soon as he touches the ball, he's just full acceleration, gone. And there's going to be some crazy long touchdown play that he's going to have this season because of that. And Brian Branch is looking like legitimate defensive of rookie of the year contender right now with the way that he played last game. So he just has to keep that up.
Yeah, everything the Lions did in this game, a step in the right direction. The offense slowed down a little bit. But again, like you said, Atlanta's defense, no joke.
We ran out of tackles to play too.
Yeah, I mean we're banged up on both sides of the ball, and still yet you're able to handily win this game. Obviously, the score 26. You're like, well, it's not a blowout. Detroit had control of this game from the get-go. It was theirs to lose from the get-go. Detroit fans aren't used to having that feeling of like we are supposed to win this game. Like it isn't supposed to be very close. Like I was just waiting for us to kind of get that next score, because I was not really concerned that Atlanta was going to hang with us. Our offense played beneath their standard, I think, overall, and we still won the game, and our defense stepped up. A lot of guys that, like you said, needed to step up because of injuries, because of what happened last week, stepped up. I think the scheme, creating different ways to try to get after the quarterback was big. And like you said, the run defense that we've been able to do so far has been outstanding. I think that's something that, I mean, we limited the Chiefs to basically nothing. Seattle had their way a little bit with kind of, mostly broken tackles and stuff like that. But then you think Bijan's going to come to town, and you think if anybody's going to make plays and make you miss and stuff, they captured him. I mean, they held him to a small day. Yeah. So I'm impressed with that. I mean, if you can stop the run and you can run the ball and you can hit play action and you're going to have these key pieces that are really talented players coming back from injury as the course of the season goes, you're going to always have a chance to win against good teams. And I'm really excited to see what they continue to do moving forward. But this was a must win at home. And like you said, they could go undefeated at home. I think Atlanta and Seattle are probably their two toughest home games that on their schedule. So obviously your division opponents, but the Bears and the Vikings seem to stink. So
yeah, we'll see where the follow through is there, but yeah, definitely a good confidence booster. And again, we ran out of tackles. Nelson goes down, Skipper goes in, Skipper goes down. Sorsdal, who has been getting reps at guard basically the entire season, has to step in at tackle, holds his own enough to at least keep the offense effective. So, fifth round rookie. I mean, that's impressive. I do want to bring attention to this, and look, I like Jack Campbell. He is a Detroit Lions pick if I've ever seen one. He is a Detroit Lions player through and through. He's a guy that makes sense to put on our team. But this is interesting. With Houston gone, they're kind of using him as like a Sam to keep contain on the edge and actually do a little bit of rushing. He had a sack. By the way, 7 sacks this game, 6 different players. I mean, that's good team defense right there. You'd like to see that. But this is the first time that we've really come alive with the sack game. So we hope that we continue to lean into that more and more. But no, it's really interesting, that he's getting so many edge snaps. And I think the main reason for it is because of the fact that, with Houston gone and Barnes playing as well as he is, they're trying to find a way to keep Campbell on the field. And this seems like the best fit for it at the moment. So I did have to make this meme, though. And again, this is no diss at Brad Holmes or Jack Campbell. But I do think it is hilarious that instead of drafting an actual edge rusher, instead of drafting Jalen Carter, we drafted an off-ball linebacker, and we're lining him up at edge for about half of his defensive snaps. So it's pretty funny.
How about the Texans, John? The Houston Texans. Fullback returns a kick for a touchdown. That was awesome to see. You always love fullbacks getting the glory because they don't get a lot of it. The Jags were 9.5-point favorites. There was some big-time favorites this weekend that went down, that lost the game flat out. So I was really, really excited to see C.J. Stroud and the Texans and DeMeco Ryans. Will Anderson blocked a field goal. Like, it's all kind of Tank Dell, big-time touchdown catch. Like, it's all starting to come together a little bit for Houston. Very, very disappointing game. Not only did you lose, you got mollywopped at home by your in-division opponent that's supposed to be inferior to you, and without doubt. Like, the Jags are on Super Bowl watch. Everyone's, kind of high on Trevor Lawrence, MVP year. I mean, I have been, you have been. Everyone we've had on the show has been pretty high on him and this team, and the Texans just took it to him.
Yeah, it's one of those games that needs to serve as a wake-up call for Jacksonville. You are 1-2 as of this moment, and you're 1-2 as of this moment, and at this point in time, your schedule's not going to get any easier. You really need to make sure that your offense is starting to get humming, because 17 points is not going to win you too many games. And obviously defensively too. I mean, lighting up 37 to a rookie quarterback is pretty wild. So overall, we'll kind of see what happens with this. But Jacksonville, if they want to kind of hit those expectations of winning their division, going deep in the playoffs, they need to turn it around sooner than later. And Mark's getting chewed out by his dad right now, so we'll see if are you good? Can I unmute you now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm using my sister's laptop because I left my laptop charger at work.
So
and she needs it for an assignment.
Yeah.
That's due at midnight, apparently.
She did warn you.
She did warn me.
But
she didn't tell me she had an assignment.
She did, actually.
She just said she needed it. And I said, what do you need? She didn't answer me.
All right. Anyways, Panthers at Seattle. Look, Panthers showed up and played a little better than I expected them to at Seattle with Andy Dalton. But, man, Seattle, I think everybody got a little bit concerned with that Rams loss. They're starting to just dominate people in the run game, play physical football, beat the crap out of everybody on the other side of them, and that's going to win you a lot of football games. So, look, maybe they just, struggled to kind of get things going against the Rams, but they're kind of looking like how they did last season. And man, Pete Carroll, I mean, just what a guy to watch on the sidelines at his age. The excitement, the energy, the schemes. I mean, he's a legend, and it is fun to watch, as much as I think Lions fans kind of have some spite towards Seattle at this point after the past 3 games that we've had with them have been pretty brutal. So
it was good to see the Seahawks get back in the a second straight win, and I've been high on them coming into the season. Big win for them last week against Detroit, and then come in and defend the 12th man and do it again against a Panthers team that's struggling, obviously, but a win's a win, and it was honestly a must win for Seattle at home. They had to get this one done. I can't wait to talk about this. The Bears. I mean, I know you've been pretty aggressive towards Bears fans and towards everything that they have been trying to talk about the last few years, but they are
horrible.
They're in trouble. They are
going to clear house and draft a quarterback at the end of the season. I genuinely think we are doing this for like the 5th time in 6 years, basically, for the Bears, or 4th time, whatever. Yeah, look, and I just there's receipts. I came out multiple times that said Ryan Poles' strategy in free agency was going to cost them. You had the most cap space in the league, and you blow it mostly on linebackers. I don't think that's a recipe for success. And yeah, I mean, look, this kind of says what he did with this free agency class.
It's not only free agency, John. Their defensive coach, their defensive coordinator steps down after 2 games. Justin Fields blaming coaching after 2 games.
Yep.
Historically bad.
There, clearly.
Yeah. Historically bad. I mean, it's a dumpster fire of a franchise right now, and they haven't won a game in almost a full year.
Yeah, it's rough. And again, the only reason I'm coming out as aggressively against the Bears as I have been is because I had to hear them talk shit all season to their, NFC North rivals, saying how Justin Fields is going to have an MVP year, and this is the new Bears, and Ryan Poles is just as good of a GM as Brad Holmes is. And yeah, complete dumpster fire 3 games into the season. And again, I expect this current administration, both management and coaching, to not be here by the end of the season.
Let's not forget that he was ahead of Trevor Lawrence on the NFL Top 100 list this offseason.
Let's not forget. And currently all he has to show for it, I think, is like a 56% completion rate at this point.
0-3.
And he has as many rushing touchdowns as Jared Goff. So,
Good start this season. Hey, another team that got completely just beat down.
I got to delete the Angry Bird.
The Angry Bird. Hey, they were angry.
They were angry.
They were angry, and they took it to America's team. And we talked about how funny it would be if somehow Arizona and this joke of a team and this team that's tanking beats Dallas. I will say the one thing that the Bears have going for them is the Cardinals won this week. And so did the Texans. Yeah. So some of these teams that you thought would be on maybe first pick overall, watch list, they got it done. So that's a win for the Bears.
Bears, congrats, first pick overall.
Congrats to the Bears for that. Congrats to
that
that for the Bears. They're on the right track. But Dallas, huge letdown. Clearly a trap game. Clearly did not prepare and take the Cardinals seriously. And shout out to the Cardinals. And I'll say this. Remember I told you where the Cardinals head coach came from last year and what his job was. And they played the Cowboys pretty good last year.
Yeah, no, that was a great call, Mark. It's always good to keep coaching into consideration when talking about bets and matchups. Probably a part that's underemphasized, right? We talk players, we talk scheme. Coaching matters, man, a whole lot. And look, this is the type of shit, Cowboys fans, that always keeps the doubters shouting at you guys because you look like the absolute juggernauts of the league. You look like you can win a Super Bowl. And then, look, it sucks that Diggs goes down. Nobody wants to see that. Your defense shouldn't fold just because Diggs goes down like that. Like, it's not a good look at all. And this is the type of stuff that, again, is going to have people doubting all season because if you can't show up and beat a tank team, right, what's going to happen in the playoffs? And that's what the Dallas Cowboys story has been year after year after year, is as soon as they run into a little adversity, they just can't get it done. Steelers, Raiders. I think the main thing. Actually,
Can I go off?
Can I guess this is your idiot?
Yeah. Oh, this is the biggest idiot. This is the biggest idiot. What are you doing, Josh McDaniels? What are you doing at the end of this game? You are driving as time runs out with a chance to tie the game. You're down 8 points, and as this time continues to get lower and lower, you get a 4th and short, and you decide you're gonna kick a field goal. The Steelers get a penalty on that play and make it an automatic first down. Right? You kicked the field goal, you made it. You could have just accepted or declined the penalty. Right? Instead, you accept the penalty, you move forward, you burn more clock, you get to another 4th down. Instead of deciding to go for it, you kick the field goal. So you just wasted time. You still got 3 points. The original 3 points you would have had with more time, and then you decide to kick a field goal to go down 5, give the Steelers the ball back. All they have to do is get a first down, and it's for sure over. Like, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Honestly, I was thinking to myself, like, he might get fired over this decision. Like, it is that bad.
I locked my girlfriend out again. I'll be right back. Keep going off.
Oh, I can go off.
Idiot
for days.
number 5. Idiot number 5.
Idiot number 5 and idiot number 6 is me for 2 reasons, because I stole my baby sister's laptop that she needs for school. But seriously, I do not know what they were thinking. I don't understand the thought process there. Math is not incredibly hard. I'm not smart. John's not that smart. We can figure out that when you're down 8 points, you're going to need the touchdown, the 2-point conversion. You're going to need a touchdown regardless of the fact if you kick a field goal or you score, you're still going to have to score a touchdown to take the lead or tie the game. And so when you kick the field goal to go down 5, I just don't understand it. Do you have that little confidence in you getting the 2-point conversion if you score? Like, is that the thought process? Like, I can't justify what he was thinking in that moment. And I just don't understand how an NFL coach that's getting all of this money and has all this experience can make a mistake like that twice. I mean, to choose to kick the field goal the first time on 4th and it just didn't make sense to me.
If I remember correctly, there were games last season in which he, people say, like, he doesn't play to win the game. He just plays to play the game. There's these critical moments where those decisions need to be made if you're trying to, win the game, and he doesn't make those decisions for whatever reason. It's really puzzling. And he's not going to keep his job if that keeps up, obviously. Eagles at Tampa. Tampa finally got exposed a little bit, but hey, man, it's the Eagles. I wouldn't get too down about it. They dominated defensively and honestly, had kind of a rough offensive game. AJ Brown tweeted, besides the run game was insane, but I think that's to be expected. AJ Brown tweeted that he ate too many hot chips before, and he had stomach problems the entire game. So he said he's not doing that before game day ever again, I guess.
Can we add a 7th idiot?
What, AJ Brown eating hotties before the game?
Yeah. This game was kind of boring. Baker, Listen, when Baker plays against a high level pass rush team, that's not what he's built to beat. That's what he's struggled with. In the many times he has struggled in his career, it's usually when he's under pressure. He does not do great against big defensive line that can get after the quarterback at an efficient rate, and that's exactly what the Eagles do. And they just rotate that D line and stay fresh the entire game, and he struggled. 2 Monday Night Football games again, so we get into the Cincinnati finally in the win column. Must win for Cincinnati. If all these people that think that they're a Super Bowl contender, I mean, they had to win this game closer than most people thought. The Rams, for some reason, are hanging around. They're not this bad team that everyone thought they were going to be. You have to give some credit to McVay and Matthew Stafford for that, because it's Cooper Kupp's out, and they're playing pretty good football. They're running the ball. They're playing good defense, and they're still calling pretty good offensive plays to get these guys in space and give them the opportunities that they've had to be in games and win games. So this was an exciting game. Listen, the Bengals uniforms, they tweaked those white uniforms and made them somehow even better.
Little pop of orange.
Little pop of it. Yeah, I mean, they somehow made those even better. The Bengals aren't going to often lose in that iced out uniform. I mean, the cocaine whites, man, like, God, those are just awesome. I could just watch the game, and I could just watch the game, and just because of the aesthetic of the color combination, the uniform combination. Yeah, Jamar Chase is finally back. Right, slow start. Right. Joe Burrow's playing through the calf injury because he's a dog, one of the toughest dudes. This was a must win, and they got it done.
Best uniform combo of the week, easily. I mean, I thought that was.
I mean, I still can't get over when they played Miami, when Tua basically died on the field. That combination of uniforms, all time.
All right, hopping into next week's games. So yeah, like we kind of talked about already, previewed already. This is a huge NFC North game at Lambeau. Lions are the favorites by just a tiny margin. Personally, I expect Lions to win, and I think Lions will cover as well, because if they're going to win, I think it will be by more than a single point. But it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a good game. And again, shout out to Green Bay, because Jordan Love's a guy. I think it's 3 games in. I think he's playing good football. He's about to get some weapons back. We're going to see what he can do with those weapons. It's going to be a fun, gritty, exciting Thursday night football game, which you can't say super often. Thursday night football matchups are usually kind of trash. So this will be sweet.
It's refreshing to see a good Thursday night matchup. Really refreshing to see the Lions have 2 primetime games in the first 4 weeks of the season. That's pretty awesome. This is big for the division. I'm not going to say that the winner of this game wins the division, but kind of sets them on the right track to do that. I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to take them to cover. I think that they'll be able to run the ball against Green Bay, and I think that will give Jordan Love just enough frustration. I still think Green Bay will move the ball and throw the ball on us a little bit. Our secondary is going to get exposed a little bit. I think that the Lions do enough to win this game. Closer than people think, for sure. And I think that the Lions will win. Close game, but I'm not confident enough to put in my best bets.
Yeah, I mean, at Lambeau, that's always tough, but it's not the same boogeyman that it used to be for the Lions.
Hey, we're 1-0 in our last one game at Lambeau.
We'll take it. Let's make it 2-0. Falcons at Jags, both teams that, kind of still have something to prove at this moment. Jags are a slight favorite. Look, man, I think that run game's hard to deal with for the Falcons, so I think the Jags might win this still, but I like the Falcons to cover here.
I'm going to take the Jags, and I'm going to take the Jags to cover. Bounce back game. You're not, if you're going to be as good as the Jags think they're going to be, you can't lose 2 straight at home. I'm not going to break it down further than that.
Wasn't KC at home too at Jags?
Yeah, but that's a different loss. So yeah, but 3 straight. But yeah, that you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you gotta. By the way, I found out they have like a pool in the stadium. Or
you just learned that? Yeah, they got the little. Yeah, they got little party pool section, and you have to be like under a certain age to go in there, I think, too.
Well, that's pretty sweet. That's a cool stadium quirk for sure. This is going to be one hell of a matchup. Dolphins at Buffalo. Two offensive juggernauts going at it. Buffalo, to my surprise, after the game the Dolphins just had, are the favorite. Yeah, I like Dolphins to win here outright. So
Wow.
I'm going to add them to my best bets. This is going to be a crazy game, but divisional matchup. And man, the way the Dolphins have been playing, I think the Bills are going to play a damn good game. I'm sure their offense is going to be hard to stop, but I think that the Dolphins offense is unstoppable. So let's go.
Damn.
Drew just pointed out that Jaguars are actually in London. So it is technically a home game for the Jags, but not in Florida.
Gotcha.
Does that change your prediction at all?
No, I still think it's a must win.
Thanks, Drew, for catching us on being stupid.
Yeah. No, I'm still going to take them. If they were my best bets, I'd probably take them out of my best bets but they're not.
We get to wake up at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning.
Hey, football early in the morning. Get right. I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to take the Bills with the -3. Not a best bet.
Okay.
I like Josh Allen and what they've done the last couple games. They play Miami well the last few times they played them. And if there's a defense that's going to start to figure out Miami here a little bit, it's going to be Buffalo. And they're very familiar with them. They've seen what they're doing on film now for 3 straight weeks. Close game. High scoring game. Buffalo.
Alrighty. We got the Commies at the Eagles -8. I like the Eagles to win here, and I like the Eagles to cover.
Yeah. Remember who was the first team to beat the Eagles last year in the regular season and take away that undefeated mark, right? The Commanders. Remember.
Yeah, but Taylor Heineke isn't there.
I know. But you don't think that the Eagles remember that?
They're going to be mad.
So, give me the Eagles -8.
Vikes, who, to my surprise, are a favorite in this game at Carolina. I mean, I get it with Carolina being, not the best opponent on the other side, but 0-3, man. I do think the Vikings do win this, though, which is actually to their detriment. I mean, if we're talking about getting rid of Kirk Cousins, if we're talking about, maybe a little bit of a rebuild going on for the 2024-2025 season in Minnesota, you actually, winning these kind of games is not good for your prospects to get that next generational talent, the next generational quarterback. And there's a lot of good ones in this draft class. And if you're a losing team or a tanking team, even it might be too early to say that the Vikings are tanking. These kind of wins actually hurt you rather than help you. But I do think that they'll win this one.
Adam Thielen revenge game, perhaps. He's with the Panthers. He was a longtime Viking. I don't think there's a lot of bad blood between those two, Thielen and this team. But part of me thinks the Panthers get it done at home. So I'm going to take them. Not my best bets, but I'm going to take the Panthers. Respectable.
We got Steelers at Houston, and it did surprise me to see that the Steelers were the favorite for this one as well. I like Houston to cover here. I don't know outright that they're going to win, but I like Houston to cover.
I like the Steelers simply because CJ Stroud, listen, we did a full episode breakdown, John, on how the Steelers confuse quarterbacks and disguise coverages. It's what they do, and they get after the quarterback up front. That's a bad combination for CJ Stroud. He hasn't seen anything quite like that yet. I know he's exceeded expectations, and I think he's mature in how he reads defenses beyond his years. I think Ohio State prepared him actually really well for that, and he did a lot of that at Ohio State. We saw how he did it against Georgia in that playoff game. But this is going to be too much for him. I think this is the first test that he truly, truly struggles with badly, and I think the Steelers get it done.
Ravens at Browns. This is a pretty critical game for the Ravens. I mean, really a critical game for both teams, but especially the Ravens. And I do like the Browns to win it, and I like the Browns to cover. I think defensively they're going to be too much to handle for a beaten up Ravens offense. I'm expecting it to be a low scoring game. Obviously, the under over kind of implies that as well.
I'm going to take the Browns as well. Deshaun Watson's starting to come together, getting better each week. And I think that this is one of those weeks that he puts it together and you really see more and more of what this guy's capable of doing when he's clicking and he's got the chemistry with these receivers. I mean, he's bringing Amari Cooper back to life. Donovan Peoples-Jones was making plays. Elijah Moore has been having a big year. And that defense.
Best bet ad or no? Playing it a little safer.
No, can't.
Okay. Bengals at Titans. Favorited by 2.5 points. I like Bengals to win and to cover here.
You don't like them as a best bet? I was thinking that you were gonna take them best bet because of how little belief you have in the Titans offense.
Yeah, so my main issue is not really what I think of the Titans. It's more so that I think Joe Burrow is still kind of nursing this calf injury. It was obviously a low-scoring game against the Rams, and I think the Titans' ability to keep it close if it's a low-scoring game is pretty good because of their defense. If this is another 16-19 game, it doesn't surprise me. Probably a little too close for comfort on a best bet. That's my logic.
Give me the Bengals minus 2.5 best bet. I just if you play against Joe Burrow and now the offense seems to be clicking. I know they didn't score a ton of points, but they were moving the ball. Jamar Chase was involved. T. Higgins is now involved. Mixon got a little bit, in the mix, as you could say. I think that they're going to finally, I think, douche. I think they're going to finally put it together and get it done and win big.
I gotta start adding stuff to the soundboard. We have our themes and our music and stuff like that. I gotta start.
That gives you way too much power. I cannot have you.
We got Bucks at Saints. I'm gonna take Saints -3 here. I think
with Jameis.
With famous Jameis.
Oh,
I'm not gonna add him to best bets. I don't love that, but look, man. Jameis Winston managed to tear both of his ACLs, and they still beat Tampa 2 years ago at home. So,
can we add a guaranteed best bet for both of us? Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans to fight.
Yeah. Can we?
I'll get the hands up.
I'll add the text. No, so I actually. Oh man, I wish I had that tweet. I need to see if I can pull it up really quickly. Somebody recapped. Evans' stats against Lattimore the past however many games they played, but he also annotated their fights in the tweet, and it was the best thing ever. Saying Evans only scored this many points this game because this many yards this game because he got ejected in the second quarter for fighting Lattimore and stuff. So I can't find it right now, but yeah, it's I think it's almost definite Mike Evans in his likely last year with the Bucks is going to throw hands with.
He's going all out,
probably in both games. So
yeah, I'm going to take the Bucks to cover the 3 points. I don't know if they win. I don't think they win, but I think it's going to be a close game, low scoring game for sure. Jameis turns the ball over. God knows what's going to happen in that game. That's a tough game to pick. And then the next game, Denver favored -3 against the Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago. Talk about garbage, same colored teams. Same colors, both shitty, both terrible quarterbacks that everyone thought were going to be good. What do you like? I mean, I think I'm just going to take the under.
Yeah. Well, here's my problem is you're taking the under on a defense that let up 70 points last week.
Yeah, but it's the Bears.
I'm not touching this game best bets wise with a 10-foot pole. It seems like volatile tank bowl chaos garbage, and I don't want anything to do with it. I could not tell you what's going to happen. I just know it's going to hurt to watch.
It sounds like to me, honestly, this is set up and scripted to show you how bad the Bears really are. The Broncos just got put 70 on them, 70 points, and I think the Bears are going to score 13 points, if that. You understand how bad you have to be to go from getting 70 scored on you in one game and then coming and playing at Soldier Field and that team struggles to score a touchdown? Like, that's what I think is going to kind of happen here. I'm not going to put in my best bets, but if I was going to do something, it would be the under.
Yeah, I'd have to take Broncos here to win it as well. I don't know about covering. I don't know about any of this, but I like Broncos to win this game. You know what would be actually like just, the football god's perfect gift to us is that this is a 0-0 overtime tie game. That's what America deserves in this matchup. LA at the Colts. Colts are a slight favorite. I like the Rams here, and I like them to cover. So I'm going to add them to my best bets, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, big time battle of Minshew and Stafford. I like the Rams as well, but I'm not going to put in my best bets. I don't love this board this week. I got to protect that winning percentage record here on these best picks. If I didn't pick Denver,
I got to pay some catch up.
Yeah, if I didn't pick Denver, I'd have a little bit of wiggle room there. But
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
Okay, we got Raiders at the Chargers. I like Chargers to win this one. I don't know about covering, but I like them to win it. They need to win it. Being 2-2 sounds a whole lot better than being 1-3 at this point in the season. Brandon Staley's fighting for his job. We'll see what happens.
I'm gonna give me the Chargers. Give me best bet. Give me the Chargers. Give me best bet. You got to remember the Raiders are without Jimmy G. He's in the concussion protocol.
Forgot about that. I'm adding him to my best bet.
Yeah, they're not the same team without him. He's
Was
pretty
it
much
O'Connell?
what's carrying that offense. Yeah, he tore it up in preseason, but this is a big stage. It's different than preseason. I like the Chargers here. I think they're going to pick apart the Raiders secondary.
I'm going to take San Fran. Well, not San Fran. Sorry. I think San Fran's going to win this. I'm actually going to take the over for this game. I think that offensively, San Fran's going to do enough to push this towards an over. I actually think they could cover too, but I'm not going to touch that.
That's a large spread.
Yeah,
large
exactly. Two touchdowns that's a lot in the NFL. I think they'll win by at least one, though, for sure.
I think the Cardinals cover. I'm not going to put in my best bets, though.
Pats at Dallas. Dallas is favored by a touchdown. This is a weird game. I don't like it either way. I think I like Dallas to win and to cover, but nothing best bets wise. I'm not touching this.
I like Dallas to win and to cover, and I'm going to put in my best bets. You get beat by the Arizona Cardinals, the whole world's laughing at you. You're supposed to be this top team that is dominant, and they've won these first few games in dominating fashion when they have won. I think they come back with that kind of a win against a Patriots team that I think is deceivingly bad.
Yeah, they're not good. Hopefully Mac Jones doesn't decide to touch anybody's below the waist or anything again. I guess we got to be on watch for that at this point.
He's got a problem with that.
Repeat offender for sure. We got Kansas City at the Jets. Sunday Night Football. This, originally when the schedule makers were doing this
would
game,
that have been a dream?
Been an awesome, exciting matchup, and instead it's probably going to be Kansas City just completely dunking.
I feel robbed. I feel violated that we couldn't see that matchup.
Forever pissed about it, honestly. Like it stinks. I like KC to win here. I don't know about covering just because Jets defense is that good and KC's offense seems to be struggling in the receiving game. So I'm going to leave that alone. But yeah, I like KC here.
I like the Jets to cover, and I like it in my best bets. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think that either Zach Wilson figures it out a little bit, or they bench his ass and they put Trevor Siemian. And I think either way, you get a quarterback that's going to have a different look. And I also think that 9.5 is a lot of points. So when you have a really good defense like the Jets do, and you're playing at home on a primetime game, I think you're going to keep this game relatively close. Like, it might be low scoring, but it's going to be ugly. But I think they keep it close. They'll cover. Feel good about that.
We got Seattle at the Giants. Somehow, some way, the Giants are favored to win this. I don't like that. I'm actually going to add Seattle to my best bets.
Same.
I think run game wise, they should run all over the Giants. I know that they have a good defensive line, but I can't get behind the idea that the Giants are going to win this game. I don't get that.
The secondary for the Giants is going to struggle with these receiver matchups. I mean, Lockett, Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, and their only chance is to get after Geno and the rushing the passer, but they've protected surprisingly well the last 2 games with a banged up offensive line, and I think it's just because schematically they're doing a good job of protecting him and calling plays at the right time, and keeping extra guys. Yeah, keeping extra guys in. So I think Seattle gets a 3rd in a row. I think they get it done.
Yeah, I like that. All right, everybody, that is our picks for this week. Really exciting week. There's a lot to cover. I know this episode's running long, but hey, man, it's that time of year.
Got to cover what you got to cover.
Yeah, and the news cycle was definitely booming this week. So we appreciate everybody watching. If you are not already a subscriber, please subscribe. We also appreciate likes. Get in that comment section. Let us know what stupid stuff we said. Let us know what you agree with. Merch coming soon. We're taking our time with that just to make sure it gets done right, because we worked really hard on it, and we want to make sure that it's easy to go and purchase and it's fun to market. And that's taking more time than we wanted it to. But at this point, I think who cares? We'll get it to you guys, and we're actively working on it. So,
wise man once said, "Who cares?
Who cares? Don't care. Don't care." All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See you guys.